understand the reality of everything, including business, because I prefer logistics as a business dialogue. The collaboration wins everything. And I happened to go through the history of Sri Lanka Navy. In fact, when the commander made his very short and insightful talk, I grasped few thoughts as well. So in those days, I heard, I'm from a marketing background, Sri Lanka Navy is a brand. Mahasayura Mada Sarasavya. This is what we call as professionalism. The uniform services, now the entire world is moving uniform services into two parts. They are vested authority and the responsibility as the first sense. Second one, contribution to the community as professionals. So it made me to do some adjustment to my presentation too. So I thought today talk on the fact that supply chain and logistics as a competitive advantage via strategic fit. This is what we desperately need. I'm representing academia, University of California, and even I'm working for the industry. And what we have seen, the country competitiveness, Sri Lanka specifically, our motherland, we have great nothing but the human resources. Wherever you go, 10 plus countries, I have witnessed that. Our professionals are personal brands. So their brain power is unbelievable. But we need something, that's what I believe as strategic fit. We'll have a look first. Rather, my words, facts, will talk the truth. Now, if you look at compound annual growth rate, global growth rate, just have a look. In 2022, the supply chain and logistic business value is nearly 27 billion. This is direct and value addition. There are indirect too. And projected to reach by 2033 nearly 85 billion, bigger than most of the countries' national GDP. Just simple word, transport. And it made a promise like reaching 11% growth for the next decade. It means another 8 years we can see 11% of global supply chain and logistic growth rate in this world. We talk Sri Lanka, not as our country, as a global resource now. Because why I'm saying that, the nature belongs to everyone. Sri Lanka is gifted with the natural competitive advantage. You know, the figure of 75%. It's a fantastic figure. Even this world, Earth, fills nearly 75% water. This biological expert can endorse our body liquid nearly 70%, 75%. Even our university grades, school grades, when you reach 70 marks, 75%, you're honored. And if you looked at our country, we deal with water. Surrounded by the water. Water is endless resource. Remember, if you looked at these two terms of supply chain and logistic, supply chain is a bigger scope. Logistic is the value added function of the entire supply chain. So if you looked at Sri Lankan figures in our export, it's like nearly 15 billion exports we do. And almost all the exports are connected with our logistic operations. Now we have to look at how far out of which we ourselves do our logistic part and outsource. Outsource means other countries. That's where we have to look at economic perspective. Are we getting the maximum outcome of our natural competitive advantage? The number two, and Sri Lanka export sector, in 2024, it's like slight growth, nearly 16 billion, good hope for our economy. And if you look at almost all the exports in our country, we refer the term called now, not the hard economy. All my academics would agree with me. The world is moving to soft economy. The soft economy is the powerful economy. Good example is why Singapore stands for number one in many categories. Small land like Colombo City. It's not how big the land is. It's about how they add soft value to the hard economy. So we are one such nation easily with the consistent and resilient strategy we can do that. The logistic plays a huge role of this, and end of my presentation, I also would like to make a proposal to Sri Lanka Navy for that. After checking few of business rules, regulation and custom of this country. And the transport and logistic, what I put in red color, you can see that contributes including ICT, BPM, textile, construction, and even I was there as the head of the country brand strategy of Sri Lanka in 2017, 2019, that era. We recognize Export Development Board, 10 industries to contribute for national economy in future. Each and every 10 industries, logistic was one of the key pillars. Actually, I wonder that day, why not Sri Lanka Navy was not in the corporate table? Right time to rethink to get the maximum of your expert knowledge to our economy. Because what the corporate world, civil world, we talk, the concepts, strategies, but still the masterpiece of execution is a must. I think more than anything, military forces, you are very good in 100% accuracy. Even I witnessed yesterday even. Perfection. Agility, some people, they have misunderstood the term agility. Agility is not, agile is not, flexibility. Why we need flexibility? Today we talk about agile supply chain. Does it mean you can do mistake? Does it mean you can deviate? No. Agile means flexible for the perfection. That's where the military forces of Sri Lanka Navy can teach to corporate world. Perfection. No deviations. That's the pledge you can promise to the entire world economy as our global customers. So last one, I want to make a highlight for you. 2023, the World Bank's Logistic Performance Index, we are 73. Once again, that number is close to 75%. We are 73 out of 139. Not bad, but I strongly believe it's not our potential. We would have done better. So right time has come for that. So why I put this out? For one reason, I'll tell you why I just put it out. I checked couple of online sources and I double checked with one of the experts in global supply chain from Malaysia, one of my fellow colleagues. I double checked with him and his citation was also there in this Google content. So these are the 7 pillars of supply chain and logistics strategy to become a competitive supply chain and logistics strategy. Even the private sector companies, they can double check how far their strategy lies on these 7 principles. So all these 7 pillars, they have taken from the client side. This is outward approach, rather inward approach. See example over here. The flexibility and agility is the number 1 principle the global client expect. So Sri Lanka economy, we need the global client touch. nothing else. Without global client touch, we can't think about the competitive supply chain. Data-driven decision-making for real-time insights. Today we all talk about AI, artificial intelligence. Late 50s AI was introduced. But now we talk. It is that old. But we understood after 50 years. But I strongly believe now the new dialogues are happening. I think, ladies and gentlemen, you would have seen now new dialogues are happening in Western world. Still, HI is powerful, human intelligence. AI will replace a lot of industries. One of the industries they cannot replace is project management, where logistics is a huge part of it. Still, HI, human intelligence, is powerful. So therefore, when you make data-driven, it is not only AI. So you can think of your client and then understand how to make minimum cost-efficient strategy or maximum cost-efficient strategy for your client and deliver your logistic service. For that, what is not found in the data, you need to do on observational research. Data-driven means that. Number 3, end-to-end visibility for proactive problem solving. Yes, that's where we can have shared information systems. Today, the supply chain industry, logistic industry is not framed as information system. It's horizontally shared information system. Even client can see what you have done as a logistics service provider, and where the product or the raw materials are packed right now. It is that transparent. If we can't promise that information transparency for our global client, don't think we are very competitive. Number 4, cross-functional collaboration. Yes, logistics is not limited to transport. It connects to today finance, marketing, especially today's marketing strategy. Logistics is a huge part of it. And number 5, technology integration for innovation. Obviously, we have to go with digital. And the risk management for resilience, that's where I want the military forces like you need to collaborate with civil community and the corporates. Especially when we are ranked like 73. But it was kind of improvement. We were in 90s. And if you want to be like nearly 50 in next 2-3 years, for the global community, for the global economy, we need to pass one message. Sri Lankan logistic industry is integrated industry. Professional uniform services are active in our commercial logistic operation. Your presence shouldn't be there for ad hoc conditions, maybe strike or trade unions. Your presence should be a permanent presence of our corporate table. In fact, I propose this to the government officials too. I mean, not only Sri Lanka, I mean, all the economies. Because you all are a professional service category. Your immediate service is different, but there is a national value-added service from you. That's what I need your service for risk management. When you are there, the trust factor is built. Any contingency, we have no excuses because we are tied up with one of the professional categories in a country. Sri Lanka Navy for an example, Sri Lanka Air Force an example. Why not Sri Lanka Army too? So these things will enrich the promise of risk management. And the last one, customer-centric focus. Today's supply chain and logistics strategy, we don't develop a strategy from our end. It's pre-thought process. You need to go to the client first and understand their requirement, and you are the one propose a model, rather you just supply what they say. It's called client model development. And you have to go and sit with them for at least 1 week and develop your logistic plan for them. Rather, the client himself comes with the expectation. So these 7 factors, today we strongly believe as supply chain and logistic competitive advantage. Why not we as academics first? Our universities, even we have supply chain and logistic management degrees, do the quick syllabus revision and get them to our teaching. Why not people like you with your hardcore training, technical training, get this soft training part involved? Then your logistic operation will reach to the global competitive advantage level. So these 7 factors, I strongly believe, are like very strategic pillars to make your supply chain strategy a globally competitive. Cao Su, the 5th century, the Chinese philosopher, is the Buddhist philosophical connectivity as well. Once he said, very nice statement, he said, if you hear something, you will forget it, obviously. If you see something, you will remember it. But if you practice something, you will learn it. So without practicing these logistic strategies, we can't learn. We need to have that practice. Even this conference, we talk today, concepts, papers. I strongly believe and I urgently invite what you present today, at least try to implement within another 2 or 3 months. See whether it works. Unless nothing will come to the content of learning. Okay, so today we all talk about agile supply chain strategy, very, very in line with what I said earlier. So these 5 properties, sensitivity, processes, information, flexibility, relationship, these are the 5 things we strongly believe which can make our supply chain agile, flexible. But once again, I emphasize the fact that agile means not giving permission to do mistake. People misunderstood the concept. Agile means for what? Flexibility for perfection. You should have a plan B always. Plan C always. This is called agile practices. The power of information is very important. Without information power about the industry and the client, your supply chain strategy doesn't give the best for your client organization. So that's why we always believe supply chain strategy should be a proactive strategy rather reactive. Before the client comes to know about maybe a storm or whatever, this weather condition changes, you yourself first report, inform to client and say there would be a deviation, but we have plan B. This is what the supply chain strategy we talk as agile principle. Agile is not you create a room for excuses. The nature is changing. You can't say road is having traffic. Yes, otherwise what else to be in the road? It's traffic. The water, troubles. That's water. H2O, troubles. So we as uniformed and professional services, we don't bring the excuses with the name of agile. No, we know that. Better than the civil society, we can sense it. So therefore, we propose to plan B. This is what we believe as agile supply chain. So all my academic participants and all the officials over here, with my next 5 minutes, with the given time frame, these 4 reinvention will make or break supply chain in the future. Commercial innovation obviously will change the traditional supply chain. Real-time decision execution, that's where we can learn from you, especially military services, we can learn from you. Human-centric work design is not AI work design. I said human-centric work design. AI can detect the data-driven inputs. But collaboration of AI and human intelligence can detect and propose plan B to your client. So therefore, future of supply chain is human-centric, assisted by data-centric. And you can see the last, achieving sustainability outcomes. Yes. Sustainability is not only environment friendly. Sustainability means rotation of same proposition without harm into it. So you happen to be a part of organization strategy. We run our logistic no or zero or very less damage to environment. We are a part of your resilience. We are a part of your risk management strategy. Believe us, we are well-trained, well-normed military forces. This is where the competitive advantage people like you have against the average corporate organizations. People will believe it. So then, what I always propose it, very in line to your own chapter 2030, Sri Lanka Navy's corporate plan, corporate strategy. I believe I can pronounce it well. It's NavStrat or Navy strategy. I got one caption over there. The military supply chain management is an integrated cross-functional approach. Fantastic, understood. And Sri Lanka Navy mission is to do maintain, train, equip, combat-ready naval force, that's your immediate service. Ensuring national security objective, it is very important to improve the global index of our economy. It has a huge impact. Safeguarding Sri Lanka's maritime interest, then only foreign investors would come and invest here. Remember Sri Lanka Navy, your contribution for our global economy. And very importantly, nurturing a stable maritime environment. This is what investors look. Don't think investors come and check only board of investment documents. They are very observational. They looked at how professional Sri Lanka military services, specifically Air Force and Navy in terms of international trades. Within that, you deal, 70% of the world. Sri Lanka Navy deals with 75% of the world, water. We have our own water for a limited space, but fine is water. So you can help a lot to position Sri Lanka as a brand of international economy for sustainable logistics strategy. So don't know how far you thought that end. Maybe for the present cadre trainings, in future trainings, better give that international exposure. Your presence, your professional value addition is a huge impact to Sri Lankan economy. So these are not written in the white papers, but it is the truth of the world economy. So then, all my professionals here, this is what I thought of proposing to you. Model between Navy and industry. Even I had a quick chat with the Navy commander even to double check whether it's allowed. I think the government policies, these are the things we should do. Remember, there are 3 types of answers in this world. Wrong answers, no marks. Right answers, you pass the exam, that's it. If you want to change the world, you must find new answers. If you don't have the legal provisions, why not we find new and do it? New answers will change. I prefer new answers to be established for this framework. Sri Lanka Navy, please collaborate and extend your service, maybe with the commercial value for industry for know-how. I'm also a corporate trainer. Why not Sri Lankan companies send their supply chain logistic department employees 1 week resilient training to Sri Lanka Navy? Nothing else. I know very well, better than some of the foreign trainers, you can do a wonderful job to them. Number two, skill training. Skill training is not academic training, should be hands-on. Simulation technique training. We had that of grounded reality of how Sri Lanka Navy managed very professionally the terrorisms what we encountered. You are very hands on that. Number three, shared manpower. It's not only for the construction works. Even as university representative, I prefer your officials to come to our university and train our young academics and even our undergraduates. So your knowledge presence is important for our economy, very seriously. And the last one, agile force. That's what I always believe. Why not Sri Lanka government becomes a shareholder for Sri Lankan companies? Let's see 5% shareholdership. That shareholdership is presented by Sri Lanka Navy with very clearly named few officials. You are a logistic strategic partner for companies. So it's a huge impact to brand Sri Lanka for international economy as a logistic arm, that they believe us because we have collaboration. So these four I would like to propose for Sri Lanka government to take your maximum to our economy and our knowledge. So the last thing what I want to highlight. Way forward, now that time is gone. We talked about big, we talked about small, it's almost expired thought. Today the world economy believes it's a matter of whether you are fast or slow. No matter how big your company is, how big your country is, it's a matter of how fast you do it or how slow you do it. It makes a decision whether you are a winner or loser. So I propose my country and especially all the professional inputs here. Sri Lanka, let's go for soft economy. I think that's the best to do that. So without winding my speech, I want to make a note. I think this is the wonderful forum to do that. And Sri Lanka, we have different professionals. I'm representing academic professionals. You must be proud about all the uniformed services, including Sri Lanka Police too, the service you rendered to this country. And now we need your service to uplift the quality of life of our people and the economy. In my Sinhala word, you are the war heroes. For me, with a very good knowledge, you are Rana Viruvo, not paid employees or whoever. So you keep that mind and be a collaborative contributors to national economy. You can do the wonders for our economy for sure. So all the best, future presenters, and then make sure the last quote I said, if you do something, you will learn. So what we talk, we shall practice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening keynote speech. I request you to remain on the stage. May I now respectfully invite the Commander of the Navy, Vice Admiral Kanchana Banagoda, to present a memento to the keynote speaker, Professor Ravi Disanayaka. He will be accompanied by the Commandant, Naval and Maritime Academy to the stage. Now I request the keynote speaker to accept the memento.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for another significant event of the day. That is the launching of Logistics Conference e-Journal 2025. A collection of 37 such articles selected out of 49 papers have been compiled for the Logistics Conference e-Journal. To symbolize the official launch of this e-Journal, let me respectfully invite Chief Guest to launch the conference e-Journal. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are given access to the e-journals of Logistics Conference 2025 and all are requested to use the QR codes which are pasted on your chairs to access and download both e-journal and the live stream of the conference. Further, you can access the virtual question and answering session at the end of each session through scanning the QR code.
To leave the auditorium with cabs to the ground floor. And I kindly request others to remain in your seats until the dignitaries leave for the group photograph.
through scanning the QR code. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Commander Ranjitha Kumara will now introduce the moderator of the first session. Over to you, sir.
Distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my honor to introduce the moderator for session 1, Dr. Upali Rajapaksha, an accomplished academic who currently heads the Department of Management and Finance at KDU. He holds a PhD in economics, an MBA, and a Bachelor of Commerce with research focused on poverty, productivity, education, and human capital. His academic contributions have been recognized with several awards. Dr. Rajapaksha teaches both locally and internationally, covering a broad range of subjects, including management, finance, marketing, and research methodology. He has served as a finance manager, accountant, and internal auditor across several organizations and is an associate member of the ICMA. Further, he was the chairperson of IRC in 2018. With his academic excellence and skillful expertise, Dr. Rajapaksha is well equipped to lead today's session. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dr. Upali Rajapaksha. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Commander Ranjit and Lieutenant Jayalat, for your live introduction about me. As a moderator of the session, in order to make the bridge between the central theme and the session theme, I take 5 minutes from you. Central theme is leveraging adaptive logistics in building supply chain in a volatile global economy. For the moment, let's forget about global economy. We will think of concern on local economy. We all had childhoods, and in our childhoods we have a very popular essay title, My Country. Our grandfathers, our fathers, ours, and our kids also, we write this essay. And our grandfathers must have written Sri Lanka is a developing country. Our grandfather also must have written Sri Lanka is a developing country. Our father has written the same essay. We have written many times. Our kids, all of you must written this essay. Hours become days, days become weeks, week become month, month become years. Years become decades, decades become centuries, over centuries we write this essay. There are no sign of ending writing this essay. Problem is going on. Think of the past, different people, different approaches we use. At a time we changed the political paradigm of the country, 1948 and 1972. Nothing was changed. Then we changed the political philosophies of the country. In 1978 we introduced open economic instead of closed economic. Nothing was changed. Every 5 years we changed the political vision of the country. Mahinda Chintana, Yahapalani, that and this. Nothing happened. At last we had no any alternative. We changed the political transition in 2024. Disaster is still going on. So instead of looking at the root causes of the problem, I believe proactive approach, I think they must have seen the reactive approach. very rarely people understood the problem. Problems are in separate directions. If you look at what has happened, number of school of thoughts, number of critics are there. The first critic is our economy is totally dependent on import. 80% of our essential goods are imported. If you look at from your body top to bottom, 100% imports. In our the economy, only 15% we added as value added. Second factor is huge amount of foreign debt, 52.4 billions of USA dollars. If we divide per capita, loan weight is 2,465. Per head each day we have to pay 29 rupees each day to set off this due. Per day everybody of us. That is 120% more than the GDP. Third reason is the poor technology and poor infrastructural facilities in logistics. It means to take a country to a downturn or to take a country upward, supply chain management make an immense role. Therefore, we have come to a new era. As the professor said, we have to think differently. So I think more than the conventional supply chain, we have to transform this one. Thereby we come to the current session. How do we transform this supply chain, conventional supply chain into modern supply chain with digital transformation? So we have three eminent speakers to talk about this, how digital transformation in supply chain can make a change. For that, we have three titles in three different aspects. We will listen to them. We will discuss. We will have an interactive session. Therefore, without further delay, to start the session, I invite Captain Akila Mendes first to talk on enhancing information technology in Sri Lanka Navy for the betterment of supply chain. So Captain Akila Mendes is enlisted to the General Sir John Kothalavala Defence University in 1996. He received the Sword of Honor as midshipman of the 14th intake of Kothalavala Defence Academy. He held a Bachelor of Arts degree with honors, and he followed the sub-lieutenant technical course at Naval and Maritime Academy, Trincomalee. He also followed the long logistic management course INS Simla, Mumbai, and conferred with the Master of Business Administration by the University of Goa, India. Later on, he followed the staff course at Naval Command and Staff College, Nanjing, China, and hold a Masters in Science in Military Strategy and Military Commands. Currently, he serves as a OIC of Logistic Management School, NMA. Therefore, I cordially invite Captain Akila to start the session.
Professor Ravi Disanayaka, Vice Chancellor of Kothalavala Defence University, senior officers, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning to you. First of all, I would like to thank the moderator, Dr. Upali Rajapaksha, for a lovely introduction, sir. I would also like to acknowledge the contribution rendered by the student officers of Syndicate Alpha of 28th Sub-Lieutenant Technical Course, who, under my guidance, did the research work for this paper. Scope of my presentation is as displayed on the screen. With the evolving technology, the world has evolved beyond imagination and continues to do so. With the advent of artificial intelligence, day-to-day activities of mankind has become easier as never before. Similarly, the logistics landscape has embraced technology and moving faster rate. In this backdrop, it is essential to transform the Navy's supply chain to be in par with the logistics practices in the world. Since the logistics industry is increasingly becoming digitalized, we need to understand the present capacities of Sri Lanka Navy in order to move forward. Effective utilization of information technology in the Sri Lanka Navy is essential for ensuring the seamless execution of daily operations and maintaining operational readiness. However, it also comes with challenges. The outdated systems, system downtime, and inadequate system integration are some of them. Additionally, ensuring that personnel are adequately trained to operate IT systems requires ongoing investment in education and skill development. In the screen, you can see commonly used systems in the Navy. There are many more systems which I will discuss later. In the year 2006, the Integrated Logistics Management System, or the ILMS, was developed by SoftLogic Private Limited. In 2012, the Directorate of ILMS was established to oversee and manage the system with 5 volunteer officers enlisted as software developers. ILMS includes many modules. Stores management module tracks inventory levels and stock movement in the Navy. It includes the SPDC and non-SPDC management module, whittling module, health management module, and naval armament department management module. The procurement management module handles all internal procurement processes. It includes the procurement module and the repair module. Budget and finance module tracks financial allocations and expenditure related to logistics operations. It is divided into 2 as NHQ and area. The ILMS serves as a centralized platform to digitize and streamline all logistic-related activities within the Navy. Its key purposes include seamless demand and issue process, centralized data management, enhanced accountability, and operational efficiency. Most of the systems in the Navy frequently lack the system capacity to accommodate emerging technology. The age distribution of systems shows a significant portion in the 2 to 5 year range, which is approaching midlife, and a smaller but a significant portion is older than 8 years. Non-licensed software in the Navy increases cyber risks due to outdated security, lack of updates, and minimum vendor support, making operations vulnerable to cyber attacks and data breaches. Regular system outages caused by obsolete hardware, inadequate replacement parts, or poor technical proficiency affects the efficiency of operations. The current systems used by the Navy are not very user-friendly, mainly due to outdated technologies. Currently, Navy utilizes several applications as discussed earlier. You can see some of the applications that we use in the Navy. Each system necessitates distinct URLs, usernames and passwords, complicating the management of numerous logins for users. The obligation of recalling several credentials discourage users from completely engaging with these platforms. Even though the name suggests integrated, in essence, ILMS is not integrated. There are 3 different modules with couple of submodules which operate under different URLs. In the screen, you can see the modules in the ILMS. Even the submodules operate under different URLs. Not only that, there are specific URLs for each command as well. As a result, an officer who needs a real-time picture across all modules will have to log into each and every module separately. The system is not user-friendly either, necessitating training to all users. Further, the system is very slow, especially in remote locations. Fleet units face numerous difficulties in logging in due to connectivity issues. Creation of item codes is done by a system operator at NHQ, and therefore the risk of duplication is existent. This system should be replaced with a barcode scanner, which would enable creation of system-generated item codes. Resistance to change from stakeholders is the primary challenge. Interoperability, data security, and system integration are the technical issues faced. Complexities of public procurement regulations complicate the process. Moreover, Navy's procurement module is already duplicated as the manual files are concurrently. The information technology market is very competitive, and military organizations frequently have difficulties in attracting and retaining proficient personnel. A phased approach to upgrading legacy systems is essential to ensure smooth transitions and uninterrupted operations. The Navy should prioritize high-impact areas for upgrades, adopt scalable platforms that can evolve with technological advancements, and secure funding for modernization initiatives. To address cybersecurity risks from non-licensed systems, the Navy should enforce licensing policies, provide cybersecurity training, centralize software procurement, and invest in secure licensed software. Predictive maintenance, powered by AI and data analytics, can identify potential failures before they occur. Comprehensive training programs for IT staff must be developed to equip them with the skills to handle maintenance challenges efficiently. In parallel, Investing in satellite communication systems and band optimization technologies is critical to improving connectivity. Furthermore, partnering with telecommunication providers rather than depending on internal networks with appropriate firewalls can enhance the Navy's access to advanced communication technologies. Promise.lk, the e-procurement platform introduced by the government, has addressed most of the challenges in procurement. Moreover, it is now a requisite by the government. Shifting to Promise.lk should be the way forward in securing transparency in procurement. Determining factor in the supply chain is the speed. Therefore, whilst acknowledging the efforts made by the Navy to develop its own ILMS, it is high time to look for a more simplified, user-friendly, efficient, and a proven ERP solution and customized to suit the Navy's checks and balances governed by the financial regulations. Investing in such a solution will bring long-term benefits to the Navy. Collaborations with academic institutions can be established to develop tailored training programs. To address the issue of recruitment and retention of skilled IT professionals, the Navy should offer competitive wages, career growth opportunities, and specialized training programs. However, due to the Defense Services wage structure, offering competitive wages would not be a possibility. Therefore, outsourcing IT services may be the alternative. Thereby, the Navy would be able to employ the best professionals in the industry. Therefore, feasibility of outsourcing IT services should be studied for greater benefit. Additionally, adoption of modern technologies such as cloud computing, artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, 5G, and advanced networking will revolutionize the operational capabilities of the Navy. I will not elaborate further as most of them have been included in the 2030 strategy. In conclusion, it is high time that Navy invest in technologies discussed. Outsourcing IT services and obtaining the expertise in the industry may be the way forward. Navy should also invest in a more simplified, integrated, and a proven ERP solution which can be accessed using a single credential and may be accessible from mobile devices in order to streamline the supply chain. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Captain Mendes, for highlighting how digital transformation can be interrelated with ILMS in Sri Lanka Navy. You may get so many concerns here in after the discussion. So without, we'll go for the second author, Ms. Tarushika Suryarachi. She will talk on transforming supply chain, leverage technology for agility and resilience. So I cordially invite Ms. Tarushika to start the session. Ms. Tarushika Suryarachi is a dedicated academic and professional in the field of logistic and supply chain management, with hands-on experience in the logistic and freight forwarding industry around 2 years. She brings practical insight into her current role as a temporary tutor at Sir John Kotalawala Defence University. She is a graduate of General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University, where she obtained second class upper division in BSc in Logistic Management. specializing in supply chain management. Tarushika has also completed the first division path in import and export procedures and practices and the accounting assistant level of AAT. She is currently reading for her Master of Business Administration at the University of California. Her research interests focus on logistics, the freight forwarding industry, and broader supply chain management areas where she aspires to contribute both academically and professionally. So I invite Ms. Tarushika to start her presentation.
Keynote speaker, Professor Aveti Sanayaka, the Vice Chancellor of General Research on Kottala Defense University, and also the other distinguished guests. Very good morning to all of you. So my constructive study was, the topic is transforming supply chains, leveraging technology for agility and resilience. So to give you a brief idea about what is this, so I will tell you about a simple example. So imagine using a reefer truck. That means the cold chain management, we are using reefer trucks to transport the medicines. And using a reefer truck, we have to transport the insulin from Colombo to Jaffna. So, but by the time it reached the Jaffna destination, it was unusable, not because of it expired, it's just because of not maintaining the required temperature level. So for medicines, we have to maintain the temperature level between Celsius 2 to Celsius 8. So like that, because of we have to maintain the required temperature level. So if there is a sensoring system to update the company, the authorized company to update the temperature on time, so that's the impact of having these digitalized systems. So, and that's, if we can send some alerts to the transporting vehicle, the temperature is not at the required temperature level, so then the authorized people can take some proactive actions. So like that, we have to use some digitalized system to have these transforming supply chains. And during my presentation, I will be covering about the introduction part, then the objectives of the study, defining some digital transformation in the supply chains, and some real-world trigger points. That means the problems we are facing right now, and the technological pillars. So basically, there are so many technological pillars that we can use for the supply chain management. But in my study, I'm concerning about the AI, IoT, and the blockchain. So practice informed the conceptual analysis and some key challenges. After that, I give some strategic information systems, like what are the solutions that we can use, and also the strategic playbook for 2030 and the conclusion part. So first, we need to have some sort of idea about what is supply chain management means. So it's kind of an end-to-end coordination between activities from manufacturing the raw materials to have the end products. So a simple example, you can say exporting tea. So the tea leaves we grew in the Sri Lankan estates, then we processed it, packed in, then shipped and sold in overseas countries. So that's a simple example of supply chain management means. So with having the global disruptions, we need to move from traditional supply chains to having these digitalized supply chains. And because of the urgent need for agility, responsiveness, and the resilience, we need to move from these traditional supply chain management processes. So then, because of not having the proactive actions, we have to face some sort of challenging situations. Therefore, with having this digitalized system, we can get some proactive actions rather taking the reactive actions. Then convergence of tech. So in my presentation, I'm focusing about the AI, IoT, and the blockchain. So from that, we can reshape the logistics processes. And also we need to shift from linear supply chains to have the ecosystemic supply chain management. So during the presentation, I'll be covering what is ecosystem mean as well. So the objective of the study is, first we need to explore how digital technologies are transforming the supply chains, then give a brief introduction about AI, IoT, and the blockchain, and highlight some practical key challenges and address the challenges and give some solutions, like the recommendations for 2030 playbook. Then we need to have some sort of idea about digital transformation management means what is that. So briefly, we got an idea about supply chain management means. So then digital supply chain management means, obviously, it's not always talking about the automation. It's always talking about the strategy integration systems. Then we need to shift from linear systems to ecosystemic supply chain management processes. And from that, we can enable real-time decisions, flexibility, and predictive capabilities. So these are the real-world trigger points. That means the key challenges we faced and currently we are facing. So COVID-19 situation, the pandemic situation, most of the industries, during that time also, most of the industries depend on China because the raw materials we importing from China. So because of the global disruption situation, we cannot import those raw materials, and all the industries were collapsed at that situation. So 94% of the firms faced delays and production holds, like those that Toyota faced, because they are using the JIT system, just-in-time system, and it proved that vulnerabilities in the systems. So the Russia-Ukraine war, the global war situations can disrupt these supply chain management processes, and the China's digital advancement created a competitive advantage for them. So by concerning all those three real-world trigger points, we can highlight how China has emerged by having a competitive advantage because of these digitalized systems. The core technologies powering the digital supply chain. So previously I mentioned that I'm covering the AI, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and the blockchain technology in my study. So first, we need to identify what is AI or artificial intelligence means. Most of the people know about in simply AI means doing something, or like easily we do our works by using computerized systems. But AI can enable the real-time demand forecasting and also route optimization and predictive maintenance. And we can use this system in supply chain management also, not only in most of the people are using for academic purposes, but also we can use it for supply chain management and other industries also. So as an example, Google's supply chain twin predicts the disruptions like tariffs and also some supply issues. They predict it and get some proactive actions for that. So TSMC means Taiwan's semiconductor manufacturing company. So they are the world's largest chip manufacturing company. And during the tsunami time they faced, 60% of their supply chains rerouted by using this artificial intelligence technology. So because of that, without having any disruptions, they continue their processes, production processes. So AI can minimize the uncertainties through the smart and automated responses also. Then the second pillar is Internet of Things. Basically, Internet of Things means the sensoring systems. We can use this for invisibility of goods, and we can check the conditions of the goods and also the movements of the products. So smart sensors enables the real-time monitoring of temperature, location, and delays. Basically, we can use this system for the cold chain management, which means handling the temperature-sensitive products like medicine, then fruits, vegetables, likewise. So the best example using this Internet of Things is Maersk shipping line. So they are using these IoT systems to track their containers, because mainly in shipping lines also, like basically the freight forwarding companies in logistics industry, they are manually tracking the containers by logging to the shipping website, and we can track the container. But having these type of Internet of Things and also some technological advancement situations, we can not manually, we can, on time, we can track where is our container is and where is our product is. So FedEx also use this Internet of Things software. So FedEx Dubai facility uses this IoT and automation to optimize the high risk and cargo handling procedures. The third pillar is the blockchain. So blockchain is considering about only the information part. We can handle this information efficiently and effectively for the organizational purposes. So blockchain builds trust through transparency, traceability, and decentralization, because we have the resources of pool of resources of this information using this blockchain. So Walmart tracks farm to shelf produce, reducing the foodborne illnesses. We can concern about the illness situations when we're considering about the Walmart and the Cargills, some sort of supermarket chains. And Pfizer company, so Pfizer uses this blockchain of drug traceability, ensuring the authenticity and safety, because tracking all these medical related things, it's affect to the company as a loss, and also it can affect to the people's health as well. So by using this blockchain, we can reduce some errors. Because of having the human errors, we can reduce those by using this blockchain, and enhances the compliance and also support some ethical sourcing as well, because we are having the pool of information with us.
Here we can see each distinct entity involved in the transaction: the growers, export authorities, ports, customs, and importers. Shipping from the port of
blockchain systems. So we have the information like the documents we are using, and also we can track the containers, where our containers and where our products are. So then practice informed conceptual analysis. So a case insight. So for my study, I bought like the Maersk IoT powered technology, and after that I elaborate some sort of like the recommendations and the conclusion part for the study. So Maersk IoT-powered container tracking system is used as a key reference point. So for the study, I used this current situation in the world, and real-time tracking, predictive maintenance, and inventory management through some connected devices such as sensors and asset management. So Maersk used this IoT system to track their containers and also the shipping cargoes. So selected for its success in enhancing visibility, agility, as our keynote speaker mentioned, that agility is not finding some excuses. We need to have the flexibility for the perfectionism, and represent a leading example of how digital tools outperform manual systems. So Maersk IoT system highly showcased that how we can use this IoT and the blockchain and also AI systems to increase the efficiency and the effectiveness of the supply chain management processes. So it can enable a deeper understanding of adaptive logistics through real-world situations and taking some proactive actions rather taking the reactive actions. So this is a simple example of what are the industries that we can use this Internet of Things. So 90% shows that automotive, chemicals, and technology industries, we can use this Internet of Things system. So these figures we take from a survey among 500 global 500 plus global logistics decision makers. This survey was done by the Maersk company. And it shows that Internet of Things can be done mainly, implement in these mainly 3 industries. So the first we identify about the introduction about these Internet of Things, AI and the blockchain. Then we can identify what are the biggest challenges we face as a corporate sector, we can say, when implementing these digital platforms. So this figure shows the cost and the return on investment in transportation and warehousing industries is the main or biggest challenge we are facing when implementing these digital logistics systems, because it takes high value or high cost to implement these digital platforms. Hence, the reason is mainly we have to purchase all these systems, like we have to pay the subscription amount in annually, and mainly we have to pay in dollars. So it takes a huge amount for middle level companies and also some small level companies. So it's a huge cost for them, and they don't like to apply and they don't like to implement these situations or digital platforms. Then these are the main key challenges to digital transformation, the legacy system that companies have. So still 68% of the companies, they are using these traditional enterprise resource planning systems, ERP systems. And workforce, mainly the employees of the companies, they don't like to move to these digital transformative systems because company also have to do reskilling and upskilling situations to adapt their employees into these situations. And cybersecurity threats, that's the main one, because companies are not feeling safe by implementing these digitalized systems. So solutions include cloud integration, employee reskilling, and robust digital defenses to implement these digital transformation systems. So as solutions, we can do operational agility through strategic transformation. So during our keynote speaker also mentioned that we have to have the strategic fit. So to have the efficiency and effectiveness in our supply chain management. So like that, we have to have this strategic transformation in supply chain management as well. So agile supply chains act as the strategic assets, not as centers. And we can use AI and also some analytical tools to speed up the decision-making processes in companies. And Tesla, they integrate this vertical planning or vertical integration to have the real-time forecasting to manage their supply chain processes. And operational agility enhances the resilience while improving the customer satisfaction, because at the end of the day, we have to enhance our customer satisfaction as well. So then the next solution we can say, balancing cost and the resilience. So geopolitical risks demand the multi-region sourcing and decentralization. So Apple now using a strategy called Apple +1, because previously they only depend on China when they produce in the Apple products, but now they are shifting their production processes to India as well. So now they are producing their products in India as well as in China. So Adidas also, they speed up the factories, use robotics and the 3D printing, and also they localize their production, which can reduce the cost, because their production processes or production premises, they are located near to the markets. So it can reduce the lead time, shipping cost, and also total cost as well. From chains to ecosystem, the ecosystem topic is somewhat new to our country, but in most of the other countries like Malaysia, Singapore, they are using this term ecosystem. Ecosystem is kind of a platform. We can have all the specialized people in certain area. So when we consider about the supply chains, we can have the collaborative ecosystem by having customers, suppliers, specialized logisticians, and also some tech partners. So it's kind of a small platform, but having all the partners integrated in these logistic systems. So fourth, electric vehicle supply chain, they connect Google Cloud, SK Innovations, that means they are battery producers, and also Redwood Materials means they are recycling company. So all these three companies, they emerge and have their production and they produce their products in an efficient way. So shared resources can accelerate innovation, risk mitigation, and the responsiveness. So those three are the main benefits that we can gain by having this ecosystem situation. So then we can have the sustainability and the green efficiency paradox. So green and lean can go together. Sustainability boosts the long-term profitability. So always sustainability means we're considering about the future. And Pastadonia's AI-powered resale model doubles the profits from using these garments, so used garments. So they have in this e-commerce platform, they sell used garments and earn high profits. So Amazon's electric vehicles also, they consider to reduce the carbon emission and fuel expenses. So that means the green efficiency paradox they achieved. And circular logistic models can reduce the waste as well as maximize the resource use. So it can enhance the sustainability processes as well. So strategic playbook for 2030, that means the futuristic approach.
Mr. Rishika, you have 3 minutes.
In digital tech, so AI, IoT, and the blockchain across all functions we can use. And we can develop some ecosystem processes with tech and logistic partners. As I mentioned earlier, we can maintain having a similar platform like other countries, other developed countries are using. So make sustainability a core strategy and not a side goal in companies. And firms that fail to transform maybe exit the market, and 40% of Fortune 500 companies at a risk if they are not implement these digitalized systems in their processes. So as conclusion, as our keynote speaker mentioned, we have to have this strategic fit to implement these digitalized systems, but most importantly, we have the human intelligence. So first phase is we need to have this human intelligence. We need to appreciate that we have this perfect human intelligence, but to support and to reduce some disruptions, we need to have these digitalized systems. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Charishika. You basically talk about how IoT, AI, and blockchain can be accommodated with supply chain management. To talk how harnessing of AI for optimizing workhouse management in Sri Lanka in construction project, we have Major Anuradha Piris. Major Anuradha Piris joined Sri Lanka Army as an officer cadet to the intake 29th of KDU. He completed his Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering degree at General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University with second class upper division. He posted to the Corps of Engineers of Sri Lanka Army. He has followed a local young officers course, junior staff course at Officer Career Development, Buttala, and junior command course at Army War College, Buttala. Further, he is currently reading for MBA in Logistic Management in General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University. Therefore, I cordially invite Major Anuradha to start your presentation.
Thank you very much, moderator sir, for introducing me. The keynote speaker, Professor Ravi Disanayaka, Vice Chancellor of General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. Let me start my presentation with a statement of very famous gentleman, Admiral William McRaven, a retired US Navy SEAL. I quote, "Success in future warfare will not just depend on courage and strength, but on how well we innovate, adapt, and apply technology." I unquote. So ladies and gentlemen, warfare is not just all about warfighting. It is a combination of warfighting and sustainment. Sustainment is the base of any warfare. As we concern the sustainment, it is simply in the means of providing logistic and administration for the warfighter. So Innovation, adoption, and applying of technology should not be limited only to the warfighting equipment, warfighting troops, or techniques. Logistics and administration also require the innovations, adoption, and applying of new technology in order to compete with modern warfare and in order to compete with modern technological evolution. The subject area I studied is a part of logistics. It is Sri Lankan military warehouse management in construction projects. As we all know, significant annual budget is allocating for Sri Lankan military for construction projects, whereas higher worth of financial, material, and human resources are involving. Therefore, warehouses in Sri Lankan military construction projects plays a critical role in supply chain of construction projects. In order to brief my research article, I will use the sequence as shown on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, artificial intelligence introduced as a computer science in 1950 and became the most powerful computerized tool in many fields, including engineering as well as in the military. So as we consider about the context of construction engineering, embrace sustainability, resilience, adaptability, livability, and smartness are the key factors that we need to be ensured for effective supply chain in construction projects. So as we consider about the Sri Lankan military warehouse management in construction projects, so it is still not upgraded into this AI era due to lack of knowledge, lack of experience, and lack of infrastructure. Objectives of my research is as shown on the screen. So as we consider about the warehouse process, it consists with receiving, put away, storage, picking, sortation, consolidation, value-adding services, packing, and dispatch as shown on this figure. The automation of warehouses begins since 1901 with the introduction of steel conveyor belt. In 1917, forklift truck introduced as a material handling equipment. Then the first automated storage and retrieval system invented in 1950, and adopting computer and IT solutions applied into warehouse management since 1980 by introducing software controls technologies. From year 2000, robotics introduced to warehouses with automated mobile robots and automated guided vehicles. Afterwards, the rapid evolution in IT industry enables the engagement of artificial intelligence and automation into the warehouses in construction projects. As considering about the present warehouse management practices with integration of AI, artificial neural network and computer vision technology are the modern technologies used in modern warehouses in order to, for the purposes of object classification, face recognition, moving vehicle classification, and monitoring of them. 5G warehousing concept is another modern technology, another modern concept using at many countries, especially in US Navy. They practice this modern technology since 2022 at their naval base in San Diego. So with the integration of AI-driven robotics, they used to have predictive analytics for inventory management and enhanced decision-making capabilities with artificial intelligence. And autonomous warehouse management with the integration of artificial intelligence. Presently, US Army Corps of Engineers as well as Ocado Company of UK, they're practicing this system with integration of AI through AGVs, AI-powered robots, IoT integrated sensors, digital twin models, and AI-driven exoskeleton soldiers assistant for heavy material handling. As I considered about the benefits of integration of AI into the warehouses of construction projects, so we can forecast the demand early, stock optimization, automated reordering, supplier selection, relationship management between suppliers and customers, can reduce the labor cost by reducing labor requirements, superior productivity can be achieved, high degree of efficiency, safety and security of men and material of the warehouses, increased supply chain speed, and improved inventory management are the benefits which we can achieve by integrating AI into the warehouses of construction projects. As I considered about the challenges, complexity of the system, dependency of data quality, dependency of data accuracy, difficulties in integration with existing systems, higher initial cost and maintenance costs required to invest, privacy issues, ethical issues, and resource constraints are the challenges we have to address when we integrating AI into the warehouse management in the construction project. As per my research methodology, this study is conducted in interpretism research philosophy by considering insights of the participant officers of Sri Lanka Army, Navy, and Air Force who involved in military construction projects and related warehouse management. The existing researchers were tested as a deductive approach to military construction field while gathering data as a case study strategy to Sri Lankan military construction engineering field. Data analysis was done as a mixed method choice and facilitation techniques by analyzing qualitative data quantitatively. The time horizon used for this study is cross-sectional and data collected from both primary and secondary sources. I used a Google form questionnaire shared with officers of Sri Lanka Army, Navy, and Air Force who involved in construction projects and related warehouse management. And then the collected data was analyzed through IBM SPSS statistics software by descriptive statistics, exploratory factor analysis, and principal component analysis techniques. Initially, I done all the analysis separately for Army, Navy, and Air Force, and then I found there are similarities in between all the forces. Therefore, for my overall analysis, done as considering all three services as one entity. This is a simple version of my conceptual framework I use for my study. As per my finding, this is the involvement of Sri Lankan military for the construction projects. There I found more than 93% of Sri Lankan military construction projects are military infrastructure construction project, development project for own establishment. While engaging with the military infrastructure development project, Sri Lankan military is engaged with around 52% of national development projects, around 44% of post-disaster and humanitarian construction projects, and less than 10% of commercial and civilian construction projects. Then I tested about the knowledge and experience of the participants regarding AI tools which can be integrated into the warehouses. There I found around 51% of officers are not aware of any kind of AI tools which can be integrated, which can be used in AI warehouses in construction projects. And about 89% of officers of Sri Lankan military who engage in the construction projects, they have never experienced of any kind of AI tools which can be used for their warehouse management practices. The reason for this knowledge gap is that around 57% of Sri Lankan construction projects, they use manual warehouse management practices, and around 43% we are using semi-automated, simple warehouse management practices, whereas fully automated or AI-powered systems are not practicing by Sri Lankan military. As I tested about the participants' insight and their satisfaction level about the present warehouse management practice, how effective them to function the warehouse process, there I found that more than 50% of officers believe as disagreed and strongly disagreed about the fact that their present warehouse management system is effective enough to function the warehouse process. That means the present warehouse management practices which are semi-automated and manual practices are not effective enough to function the warehouse management in present context. And here, 38% of officers remain neutral because of their lack of knowledge and experience about the AI tools, as I previously mentioned. So these are the contribution of indicators according to the benefits and challenges of the integration of AI. So I use exploratory factor analysis and principal component analysis to list down these indicators according to the loading factor voted by the participant. The first indicator, performance enhancing. So we can achieve it by automated reordering, high degree of efficiency, stock optimization, enhanced supply chain speed, superior productivity, effective supplier selection, and relationship management. Second indicator, efficient productivity and inventory. So we can achieve it by integrating AI into the warehouses, by labor cost reduction, efficient inventory management, superior productivity, and enhanced supply chain speed. The third indicator, safety and demand overview. So we can comply with the demand while ensuring the safety and security of men and material in the warehouses by integrating AI. So these are the positive impacts or benefits which we can achieve by integrating AI into the warehouse management as per the insight of the participant with compare with their existing knowledge and their satisfactory level of present practices. As the challenges, system adoption challenges due to complexity and difficulties in integration, financial challenges due to higher initial costs and resource constraints, and data handling issues due to data quality dependency and privacy and ethical issues of data handling. So these are the negative impacts or challenges we have to face when we integrate AI. As I conclude my presentation, so it is discovered that knowledge and experience have become the critical issues of harnessing AI into the warehouse management practices in Sri Lankan military. So majority of officers who engage in the construction projects, they are not aware and not experienced of these systems. It has become the major reluctance to integrate this system into the Sri Lankan military warehouse management practices. As for the benefits and challenges, as all participants believe that they can achieve higher benefits and lesser challenges than their existing warehouse management practices, which are manual and semi-automated systems. As they highlighted, performance enhancing, efficient productivity and inventory, safety and demand overview can be achieved while system adoption challenges, financial challenges, and data handling issues are becoming the challenges which we have to address when we integrate it. So finally, I believe that my findings will be an eye-opener for future researchers to integrate and invent new AI technologies into this warehouse management in construction projects, as well as other logistical aspects in Sri Lankan military in order to compete with modern technology with artificial intelligence. So these are the references I used for my study. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Major Anuradha. You discussed the challenges and opportunities simply. You have AI in construction project. Now, to start the discussion forum, now session is open to audience to ask any question. You can address author 1, author 2, author 2, author 3 if you need to raise any questions. We have 15 minutes.
Good morning, sir. I'm Captain Prasan Nakmimana. My question goes to Captain Akila Mendis. Sir, in your presentation, you talked about ILMS, and you said it's outdated system. Of course, I agreed. And in your recommendation, you said instead of ILMS, we should introduce ERP. True, we should do that. Now again, you talked about promise.lk. For my knowledge, now here we are talking about ERP, and promise.lk, for my knowledge, it's a small platform introduced by the government for government institution to do procurement in that system. Now, if you happen to log into it practically, what we can do is we can just invite tenders and we can receive tenders. Apart from or beyond that, you can't do anything. So it's a bit confusing, right? So here we are talking about introducing ERP, the promise.tk, I mean, it's not a ERP system. So, what do you think? How do you overcome? Though we introduce ERP system, still we have to follow that promise.tk.
Thank you, Prasanna, for the question. That's a good question. Promise.lk is a requirement by the government. And the regulations are also there that the entire procurement system can be managed through the promise.lk system. It's true. It is the beginning now. There are challenges, but I think it is the way forward, because from the time of inviting tenders to awarding the tenders, even bid opening is available in the system. So the transparency is, I think, is the maximum level in the promise.lk system. Now, why I say that we have to have a ERP solution, because there are so many advantages. But for us to have a procurement management system in the ERP, it is not supported by the government's rules and regulations. In the long run, I think the government will have an entire ERP solution for the entire government sector. But until such time, it will take long time. Until such time, it is necessary that we go for a ERP solution to streamline our logistic platforms. But promise.lk is in the infant in the beginning stage, but I think we have to go for promise.lk and go for the ERP solution as well. Did I answer my question, Prasanna?
Sir, yeah, yes, now I agreed with your opinion, but here we are talking about introducing ERP, whereas this promise.lk recently introduced. And why couldn't they go for ERP? I mean, it's a bit confusing, right?
That is because of I think it's because of the financial restraints that the government is facing. It will go for other departments as well, I guess.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to everybody. I'm not going to ask a question, but I'm going to make a suggestion. During your presentation, it was wonderful, good, excellent, but I couldn't see one area, because regarding the kit system, clothing system, I would like to focus your attention to 2012. When you go back to 2012, the kit issuing system was decentralized, and in 2012 it was centralized. Before 2012, the system was any sailor or officer want to have their kits, they had to go to the supply officer of respective bases, and they had especially sailors, they had to go through the divisional officer or the sailor. Then the logistics officer, supply officer, prepare the kit voucher. Then they go to the area command supply officer, then they issue. There were no wastages happened actually. Even the logistic officer, they had the right to verify the requirement, actual requirement, whether they are asking. Somehow or other, 2012, it was centralized, and headquarters started sending the requirements of the sailors and the officers
from naval headquarters. That is, so you say annual requirement. What they started actually, they identified the requirements of the sailors and officers annually. They put them into bags. For instance, you say 5,000 officers. You put all the requirements into 5,000 bags and send to the various respective areas. And the sailors also, if you take 40,000 bags. So as a result, I mean, there were a lot of the wastages, and we may have lost about millions, not millions, sometimes billions of worth of money we may have lost. For instance, you say 5,000 officers, when you send these bags, if you think that we have taken some remedial actions in 2022, about 10 years, for 10 years, 10 bags you have sent already. In that 10 bags, how many white shoes you have? How many black shoes you have? I mean, would have been lying in their respective houses and all that. Black shoes, of course, I mean, they could have given to their relatives or known people for use. But as far as the white shoes concerned, what are you going to do that? Just put to the waste paper basket. Like that, what I am trying to tell you, the present system is not good. I mean, my suggestion is to centralize this system, decentralized system, then let them to have their requirements from their respective bases. So I don't know whether you are agreeing with me. Some remedial actions were taken about 2-3 years back, but still not updated the system, still the wastages and a lot of money being wasted. Thank you very much.
I think it is more than a question, it's a suggestion, correct? Right. Thank you very much. And any question to author 2 and 3? Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Namali Sirisama from KDU. My question is to this major series on this warehouse management in construction projects. If we take most of the construction projects that we do, those are short-term projects. So therefore, we mainly use temporary buildings as warehouses. So how are you going to change your strategies and applications when applying AI in temporary buildings? And also the cost. Who should bear the cost, whether it is the contractor or the client?
Thank you very much for the question, ma'am. So as you very correctly brought down, so some projects are actually temporary projects. So but when Sri Lankan military concerned, so we have some centralized warehouses in Sri Lanka Army, Navy and Air Force. Some centralized warehouses are there. As you mentioned, ma'am, it is very difficult to make AI-generated, sophisticated warehouses for each and every temporary construction project. So my suggestion is for this centralized warehouses. So what we can do is when we adopting these technologies, so actually in short-term benefits, so we have to invest for higher financial cost for that. But when we consider about the longer-term strategical benefits, so there are more benefits we can achieve. So as an example, ma'am, in Cardo company in UK, they invented AI-generated picking machine. By that, within 1 year, they were able to reduce their labors by 1,000 numbers. That means they were able to reduce the salaries they paid for that much of labor. They were able to reduce the expenditures they spend for welfare and administration for them. So that means they were achieved a long-term strategy. And madam, when we are designing a warehouse, so we have to consider about the human factor who employ in the warehouse. So we have to consider about the illumination, we have to consider about the ventilation for human, and spaces, accommodation, these things. But when we integrate AI, so warehouse is fully automated, that means we don't want to consider about the illumination. So now, modern concept, we have dark warehouses. So dark warehouses, we don't want to, there are no lights. So we know when we constructing a building, how much we have to expend for illumination. So by this kind of strategies, this kind of automation, so we can achieve longer-term strategical benefits. So as you very correctly mentioned, ma'am, so I am as my opinion, I'm not suggesting to make temporary warehouses in AI technologies, ma'am. I think, ma'am, my answer is satisfied for you. Thank you, ma'am.
Any question to author, second author?
Anyway, I would like to have some comments from Captain Mendes on my suggestion. Some comments from you.
We have only 3 minutes. We need to give a chance to the second author as well.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for the very excellent presentation. My name is Dr. Priyangini Jayasundara, and as well as I'm ex-naval officer, I'm representing here CILT. My question goes to Major Anuruddha. I believe that the contributions the military, altogether 3 services made is excellent. In your presentation, I have seen 93% we have contributed, not only the military as well as the nation. My question is, what do you think, or I mean, how can you work with the private sector? Because we see when we talk about the constructions, the quality, right? Inferior quality material used, the building, we have seen the disasters, like, the building has collapsed. So, in your opinion, can we work with the government, right, in a private-public partnership? And what contribution we military, with the professional know-how you have? Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So, when we consider about Sri Lankan military, ma'am, so all these findings of my research is based on construction projects and officers who engage in construction projects. So most of them are civil engineers, some are supply officers, some are technical officers who engage in construction field, some are non-technical officers. So based on their opinion, of course, their knowledge and experience about the AI system, AI tools are very poor. But ma'am, in Sri Lankan military, we having other professionals in other branches. We have electrical engineers, we have electronic engineers, IT officers. Most of them are masters qualified, PG qualified, some are chartered qualified. So they have already equipped with the knowledge, this professional knowledge with this AI era. But the problem is, ma'am, so the knowledge is not yet shared. So now it is time to invest. So as you mentioned, now actually we don't want to hire private sector profession for AI innovations in this military. We have enough knowledge, but still for all, so we can have some knowledge from the private sectors also. That means we don't want to invest for more for knowledge enhancing. Now the time is to invest to share the knowledge. And as you mentioned, so government and private sectors, so we can have their contribution through sponsorship, financial assistance, to invest research and development through this AI-generated warehouses. So my concern is only about the construction warehouses. So therefore, so my suggestion is, in this context, so we can have the assistance from financial and sponsorship assistance from the government and private, but knowledge is still there with us. So I think in future, so there will be more researchers, more findings from our military officers to enhance these technologies and to integrate these technologies into warehouse to compete with the modern technology. That is my suggestion, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Can I have two? We can have 2 questions to second author. That question should be short and sweet. Time is over now. So we have received many questions online also. We don't have time to get all these questions. It appears there is no any question to the second author. Right. So I will summarize the session. I went through the paper presented by Captain Mendes. Of course, what Captain Mendes wanted to highlight, he basically says the present ILMS has problems, and he said the systems are a little outdated, going with so much of manual processes, lack of real-time visibility, there is a human resource gap, and problem of low cyber security readiness and poor resistance to change, as well as there are some gaps in the infrastructure. And he proposed to have the potential methodologies to improve this one and go for a better collaboration. And in the case of the research conducted by T.S. Suryarachi, her findings are what she says: the better supply chain management can make a better decision making, and also she says better supply chain management assisted by artificial intelligence can reduce the cost and also can go for a better strategic fit, as Professor indicated. And also she says there are problems with the old system, conventional system. All these conventional problems can be sorted out by having a better digital transformation system. And finally, Major Pires basically highlights at present the current military officers, their awareness and experience in AI is very poor, 73% as I believe. And also currently most of the warehouses are run by manual or semi-automated methods that he suggests to go for a better automation system. And also he says if the AI is introduced, warehouse performance, productivity, safety and demand forecasting can be done well. And also he believes by having a better AI system, we can reduce financial cost and most of the integration difficulties can be overcome. And also he proposed, he believes the long-term efficiency can be enhanced if we have AI supported system. And as our Professor Ravi mentioned, the logistic performance basically measured by different indicators. We use LPI, logistic performance indicator, internet penetration ratio, custom efficiency and logistic cost to the young students we have for their knowledge. And Sri Lanka logistic performance indicator is 2.68 as Professor rightly told. Now it is 73, but in 2020 it is 97 position in the world. But if you take Japan, IPL is 402, that means they hold the 5th position. Singapore hold the 7th position. Don't forget in 1948, Japan, Singapore and Sri Lanka per capita income is same. Today our per capita is increased by 25 times. At that time, Singapore per capita has increased by 422 times and 397 Singapore and Japan. They have gone faster than this. But don't forget this also, the Africa, even they also hold LPL 2.8, that is above us. Internet penetration ratio, our one is 34%, whereas Japan 93%, Singapore 88%. But don't forget Africa, being the very poorest country in the world, is continent in the world, they have 30%. Custom efficiency to get the product clear, we take 2 to 4 days. And Japan, hours, less than 6 hours. Singapore, less than 1 day, less than 24 hours. But in our case, in Africa, that is 5 to 12 days. Therefore, we need to go for digital transformation in order to make these problems to be corrected. Finally, in the world, there are so many continents. In resources wise, Africa is the continent where you have a hell of a resources. They have gem, diamond, everything they have, all precious resources they have. But they are the very poor economy in the world, most undeveloped countries in the world. Why? Reason is management. But keep in mind, Singapore, they don't have resource bases. Japan, they don't have resources like Africa, but they have gone fastly. Reason is this, how we manage our supply chain. Japan manage the supply chain well, though they don't have resources. Singapore manage their supply chain well, though they don't have resources. So, depending on how we manage supply chain, most of the problem can be overcome. With that, I conclude the session. Thank you very much for everybody listening. And also, I myself and my presenters, we really thank to our Commandant for inviting us for this occasion. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I must thank Dr. Upali Rajapaksha for moderating the first session and 3 eminent speakers for presenting much valuable and informative research papers. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now request Director General Logistics Rear Admiral Ruwan Kalabovila, accompanied by Senior Course Coordinator of Long Logistics Management Course, Commander Ashoka Senadira, to present mementos to the resource personnel for conducting a productive session. I invite Dr. Upali Rajapaksha to accept the memento. First speaker, Captain Akila Mendes. The second speaker, Ms. Tarushika Suryarachi. The third speaker, Major Anuradha Pires. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we conclude the first session of the Logistics Conference 2025, and we break the session for lunch. Distinguished invitees who received special invitations are requested to proceed to Banquet Hall. Those who received blue color handbands are requested to proceed for Golden Lounge, and those who received green color handbands are requested to proceed to Naval Institute. All invitees are requested to be seated by 13:05 hours. Thank you.